on at the end of day 3. Yeah, so this is very informal. We've tried many things over the years to figure out what to do with this final session, but I think just an open question and answer session is the best. But I just wanted to do a few thanks and wrap up things before we get into that. Any idea why it's not moving forward? Okay. So first, I just want to again express thanks, and this is a more comprehensive and detailed list of who was involved. So, for the workshop organization and support, our administrative team: Elizabeth Fairclough, Daniel Sena, Kaylin Kampert, Kayla DeBellis, and Teresa Waltz have done a ton of work. You've seen them out there shepherding everybody around to the right place at the right time, helping people out, presentations, et cetera, and really organizing the event. Like the event that went last night was great. And everyone put in a huge amount of effort for that. It was, a special thing. And of course, UCAR Multimedia makes this all run seamlessly. It's not trivial to do that. So really thanks to them. And just again, a thanks to the U.S. National Science Foundation for providing support for especially some early career travelers, and for all the CAB and SSC and working group co-chair members who traveled. So thanks again to everybody. So let's have a round of applause. A couple of photos from the week, I guess. So I forgot to mention to thank the band yesterday, but there's the band, some great plenary speakers, all the good conversations, all the group, and especially the chief scientist. That was really fun. And well, there's Elizabeth and I being a little silly. So really, again, thanks to everybody who participated, and thanks for being here. It was a really fun meeting, I think, considering the circumstances that we're currently in. And this actually is now duplicative of that previous slide that Elizabeth put in since I said. So the last thing I just want to say before we move to question and answers is just a reminder about the CSM use and impact survey. A bunch of people have filled it out already. We have 60, 70, something like that. Our responses, including some from private industry, government agencies, and things like that. So this is super important. We're not going to ask you for any other surveys right now. So there's not going to be like a, how did you like this workshop? This is the most important thing right now. So please fill it out, or ask your colleagues to fill it out, or send it off to the people who you think might have some influence, and ask them to fill it out. So we're really going to take this information and try to bring it forward as we, try to find alternative ways to make the case for ongoing CSM activity. So please make an emphasis on this. So yeah, now, questions or comments. This is really an open forum for you to raise any questions that you have related to what happened during the meeting, or just in general what's going on with CSM. If you have suggestions for things we should be doing that we're not doing, or we could be doing better, those kind of things, or just general comments about, let's not go as far as the state of the world. That's probably too far, but general comments about what's going on with CSM. So please, anyone who wants to get up and also if you're online, use Slido to ask your questions. And who's monitoring Slido? I forgot to assign somebody to that. Elizabeth, Elizabeth will look at that. To break the ice. Here we go. Thank you, Ollie.
Yeah, just thank you for all for this amazing workshop. Just kind of a suggestion. I was thinking, I really like this, like opposite like AG or something. It was like really overwhelming, but that was very target and very nice. But still, I feel that would be maybe. But if that would be like kind of introduction or kind of abstract at what gonna be discussed in that session, like in plain language, or like kind of, we're talking about open science, like science communication. If would be good practice maybe for us, like to have something like that in the beginning. And if somebody is like other field or not much familiar with that field, that would be good. Little bit warm up. I would suggest that one. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a really nice suggestion. We kind of forget, those of us who've been here for 30 workshops, and not everybody's up to speed with everything that's going on, and that's a really important thing to remind us about. That's a good idea. Let's try to remember to do that for next year, for sure. We want new people to be coming here and feeling welcome and engaged, and so that's an important part of it. And honestly, you know, I don't know what's going on in all the working groups, and I'm going to sit down in a new working group and be like, okay, what is really going on here? So that's really helpful. Any questions? Yeah.
I had a quick comment about something as well, because this conference we saw a lot of things about science communication and how that's important. I think it would be a really fun and interesting thing to have a small session where people can have a 5-minute talk, which is just layman language, explain your research in 5 minutes instead of science talks. I know that's not the purpose of the CSM workshop, but if SciComm is important, I think it would be a good idea to have that. Thanks.
Yeah, I think it came up several times during this workshop. Paula really stressed this in the opening plenary. Jeff stressed it yesterday. Science communication, super important, and you know, all of us have an opportunity to learn better about how to do science communication. I like that idea of having just one session that's focused on you know, people trying to play with their ideas a little bit to see how they want to communicate their science. A bunch of really short presentations. That's a good idea. So we'll try to write down that down and think about it. And you know, in the same vein, you know, this year we changed the format just a little bit. We had the celebration, obviously, but you might have noticed the working group lengths were not all equal. And this year we asked each working group how much time they wanted to have, and we let each working group choose. And we'll do that again next year. And then we have these cross-working group sessions, which have been really good. And currently, it's the co-chairs who tend to put forward the ideas for the cross-working group sessions. This year they were sort of obvious. They popped out obviously, but sometimes it's not clear what we want to talk about. So we're always happy. You know, contact your co-chair and tell them an idea you have. You know, we can only come up with so many ideas ourselves, so it's really nice to have like a fresh idea like that to bring forward to next year. And I'm also open for ideas about how to, you know, revamp the conference even more significantly. I mean, I think this year was really nice. We don't have to keep the same structure every year, so that's. But thanks for that suggestion.
Think of something, you know, obviously from all these people here, there's lots of papers and publications in science journals and things like that. But I don't remember seeing something in a high impact place about CESM as CESM. And maybe with the 30th anniversary, it's time to do that. And maybe it's a good way to try and, I don't know, advertise to the world the value of the scientific collaboration.
That's a really good idea. I think we could do something like, yeah, that's an excellent idea. I really like that. I'm not sure of the venue, but you could imagine us describing this workshop, some of the celebration stuff we did, and the CSM Impact and Use Survey may really turn up a bunch of like things that would be worth covering in that sort of review. So we could maybe expand that to be a little bit of a history, and then here's what the impact of CSM is today. I like that idea a lot. So yeah, I'm glad you're going to take on the lead of that activity. Peter.
I thought Michael was going to say this, but he brought up the idea of societal dimension working group that we had previously. And, you know, we keep on talking about having actionable and, you know, useful science coming out of it. Maybe it's time to revisit, like, having that as like a theme that works through CSM, like try and have a way to coordinate the impacts analysis we're doing, how we're communicating with stakeholders, yeah. You know, making the model really responsive to those needs. And just throwing it out there, maybe time to rethink that again.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm sure you're aware, you know, we have had several cross-working group sessions over the last 2 to 3 or 4 years that have focused on this, but we haven't like formed something that's sort of lasting year to year. Yeah, I agree with you. It's important. Yeah, as you know, like getting everything fitting into this 3-day period already feels quite intense. But maybe we need to focus on doing that. Yeah, good point.
It would be helpful to have the posters out for all the 3 days rather than just the 2 hours.
Yep, yeah. Yeah, yeah, this unfortunately, I mean, Elizabeth, if she's, wherever she is, this is like I mean, it's nice to all be here together, it kind of works out, but this is really a terrible location for logistics for a meeting, but maybe not terrible, that's pushing it too far, but posters are hard here, but yeah, that's a good point. I think we could at least try to keep them upstairs. Down here, it gets pretty tight with everyone, when everyone's here, but yeah, that's a good point, thanks. And is somebody taking notes on this? All right, I'm going to try my mental notes on things that we might forget.
Maybe we could also think about lightning talks for the posters.
Yeah.
That in.
Okay. Danielle.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you, as always, for organizing. This has been great. I wanted to really support Michael's point. I think that this could be a good moment in which both the CSM community and the university community highlight the importance of CSM in the past, in the present, and potentially in the future with all new things. So normally, BAMS is the perfect place where to do something like this, right? A meeting report, but also like a very focused piece that makes a point that CSM is going to be relevant and important in the future as well, and the US needs to keep supporting it. That'd be really super supportive of something like that.
Yeah, I mean, BAMS might be a nice place. We might try to go for something even higher, you know, like see if we could get it into a perspective for something like nature. But yeah, BAMS is definitely an alternative. I like it. Yeah, the past, present, and future of CSM. Yeah, it's a really good idea. We should really try to make this happen. Yeah.
I was wondering whether you could shed light on the chances, you know, concerning CMIP, whether, you know, we as the CSM community can participate in CMIP this time around or not, and what are the considerations? Maybe you can shed light on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised there wasn't a question yet on that. And anyone who was paying close attention might have noticed I didn't really mention CMIP in my overview, which was a little bit, which kind of reflects a little bit the uncertainty that at least I have, I think a lot of us have, about how to proceed. But I'll say one thing, where we've had no specific guidance from NSF, from NCAR, from anyone, as far as I'm aware yet, about whether to or to not participate in CMIP. So as of now, I think it's our decision. That could change, right? That could change. We could get specific guidance. So then it's our decision. So we are, John, myself, others are having conversations with people frequently to try to get the understanding of what people think about the potential risks, obviously, of doing CMIP and the potential risks of not doing CMIP. What I got during this meeting, perhaps not surprisingly, is that this community would like us to do CMIP, I think. The research community would like us to do CMIP. The value of CMIP continues to be high, especially, I mean, it may not be all of CMIP, but definitely, you know, running the deck and the scenarios has such a big impact. So I've kind of knew that already, but I've heard that message at this meeting for sure. So you know, we're going to talk about this more tomorrow with a joint meeting of the co-chairs, the CAB and the SSC, to get more opinions about this from a wider suite of people who can, you know, be speaking freely. And I think we're still in the position that we don't have to decide just yet. And because, you know, things are so fluid, things are changing so quickly, it feels like any decision we do make we're going to have to revisit it. So one of the things we're going to do tomorrow and over the next several weeks to month or so is try to put some timelines on ourselves to make the decision go or no go.
And I guess related question, and is CSM3 ready by then when the decision comes?
Yeah. So we are proceeding as if we're going to run CMIP in terms of development. But yeah, we are trying to finish CSM3 to be able to be ready to run CMIP. Now we are clearly not achieving those goals, but but the philosophy is, but we may. I have confidence in our team, but you know, as you saw, there's things that aren't going well, but I also, I'm starting to feel like we're turning the corner. But yeah, what I didn't really talk about was too much was like the workflow stuff that we're doing a lot in the background. I didn't spend much time on that, but we're spending a lot of effort on CMIP kind of workflow, which is going to have benefits beyond us running CMIP or not running CMIP. It's going to make everything, the whole process easier. We're working on the CMIP forcing data so that, you know, we need to be able to do that so we can at the very least run up to present day, you know, with realistic forcing. So there's other reasons to do it. So we are taking all the steps to try to be ready. If that makes sense. And I'm happy to hear opinions from everybody. I'm not like doing a statistical analysis of all the opinions, but I do like to hear what people's perspectives are because it helps inform the overall picture, right? And I'll be honest, I think there's probably people in the room who want us to run CMIP and we're also scared a little bit about the potential impact of running CMIP if, you know, if it comes back around. So that's why the decision is non-trivial.
Just going to add one thing because it's probably obvious to you, but maybe not to everyone, that we will release a model and we will produce data sets with that model, even if we didn't do CMIP. And some of those might be very CMIP-like, even if we didn't do CMIP.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is the alternative if we decide it's not in our best interest to run CMIP, that some other entity will run CMIP for us. That there's many people who have offered that. There's no way that's not going to be an effort that we're going to have to participate in at NCAR. I think it's almost impossible for external groups to run CMIP without our help. But Europeans have offered, several institutions around the U.S. have offered. So I think that's another alternative that we're thinking about.
I'll just put my vote in. If they don't tell you not to, I really hope you go and run CMIP.
Thank you.
And I mean, I'm going to repeat what I said what I'm going to say tomorrow at the kosher meeting. I really think that the way to go is through a consortium of universities that can run what NCAR cannot, or maybe should not. But it really should, but two things. It should be both, not just one institution if it's not NCAR. And also I really think it would be an incredibly terrible signal to have this done in Europe with CSM, considering that all the other US models are in a worse shape potentially. So I would strongly advocate, and I will try to do that in any way possible, for a consortium of universities to do broader CMIP in any way possible. But it would be really important to have this done. So.
That's a good point. It's a fun topic.
But there was also the question if we run CMIP, if we don't run CMIP, as an institution run CMIP, where the data, the original output will be saved, and I don't know.
That's part of the thing you have to figure out. Yeah, for sure. This was the, you know, we've done surveys before. I don't know why I just thought of this, but, you know, how much do you guys care about whether CSM3 is a good model or not? You know, because we've done the survey before and they said, you know, what we really want is an easy to use model, and that was the highest priority. And then the quality of it was like the lowest on the list of so if that's still true, I think we're ready. No, we're gonna produce as good a model as we can, obviously. Any other comments or questions? How do you like the balance of things that were discussed at the meeting? And good. I do think this is a fun meeting, right? It's a model development activity, but there's a ton of science. I mean, the amount of science, and of course model development is a science in and of itself, is really impressive. It's really extremely rewarding to be able to sit up here and you know, be able to appreciate and see everything that's going on from the work that we're doing. So that's really exciting. It's very motivating. if we didn't already have motivation to get CSM3 done and make it a good model, this was motivation. Cool. Anyone else want to? Peter, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really liked when we had the biogeochemistry and the polar working group together, like yesterday morning.
Yeah.
I thought it was really great. And sometimes I think there's this overlap between working groups and allowing to have a little bit more flexibility. Because yesterday morning, I guess there was 3 working groups I really wanted to be in, and like, you couldn't be in them. I know we got YouTube videos of all this, is great, but having those overlapping is really a positive thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. And I actually just had a really quick conversation with the chemistry working group. There's a lot of overlap between BGC and chemistry this year. I think there were 2 like really related fire talks going on at the same time, because I was getting texts from the other room about what they saw. So, I think we can be creative about that. And I think we don't always have to have 3 parallel sessions. We can do 2, and one of them can be a joint working group for part of their time. So I do want to revisit that next year, and maybe we can think about it, several sort of joint, 2 working groups together going off at the same time. But yeah, absolutely. There are definitely times that I wanted to be in all 3 rooms at the same time this year.
I just wanted to express gratitude for the initial plenary session as well on the first day with Paula, Hansi, and Michael. I thought that was a really cool application of CSM, seeing it outside the academic sector, and I would, put a +1 for having something similar next year. I think it's important to highlight in these times, the reach that CSM has beyond just the academic sector, and I thought that was a really effective way of doing it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I've heard quite a few people come up and say how much they enjoyed that session, so I'm glad for the positive feedback, and we will, I think we'll almost certainly be trying to carry forward some element of that type of discussion, whether it's in plenary or whether it's a cross-working group session or what, in most years, because I do think that's important. Why are we doing this? It's for the impact, so absolutely. Thanks a lot. Great. Seems like that's about it. So thanks everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. Hope you had fun. I enjoyed it, and we'll cross fingers. We'll see you all again next year.